Hello out there in internet land. This is the P&J Formula One podcast, episode 4. Wow, we made it to 4 episodes. And I got through the intro this time too. I didn't stuff it up.
Very good. You've improved your language skills in the 3 weeks we've had.
Yes.
I'm proud of you.
I am your host, Phil Lamington. And as you can tell, because he's already started speaking, my co-host, JB. JB, how are you, my friend?
I'm good, mate. You shall speak when spoken to. And
Yeah.
that's how podcasts work.
Put your hand up. It's like in a classroom. Put your hand up if you want to speak. So I can say to you, shut up.
Yes. The Portimao recap.
Yes, so the Portimao Portuguese Formula One race was very early this morning.
Thank God it's a public holiday.
Yes, and it was not a bad race, but it was kind of uneventful.
It was very pedestrian. By the end, my initial thoughts after the race was, yeah, it was a good race because there's a lot of like mid-pack battling and stuff.
Yeah,
But when the Formula One highlights video is only 4 minutes long, and it's usually like 8 minutes long,
yeah.
that probably tells you the sort of race it really was.
Because the Imola one, that went for nearly 10 minutes, and then this one went for 4.
Yes.
So it's sort of, I don't know, it just makes, the Imola race just makes this one seem rather pedestrian in comparison.
Pedestrian podcast or a pedestrian race.
I
They
think
can't all be exciting.
I think we'll be the excitement. We will bring the excitement to this race. Okay, so the Lewis Hamilton won for Mercedes, followed by Max Verstappen in the Red Bull. Valtteri Bottas came third in the other Mercedes and also got the fastest lap on the very last lap.
Mm-hmm.
Sergio Perez, nice to see Sergio Perez is finally getting some points, getting a result.
Yes, he finally got something out of that Red Bull. And a lot out of his tyres.
Yes. Despite the fact that at the start he was going backwards.
Well, I don't think there's been a race this year so far where he hasn't dropped like a rock off the start.
Yeah.
He's,
And then 5th place was Lando Norris in the McLaren.
Mm-hmm.
6th place was Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. Number 7, Mr. Personality himself, Esteban Ocon in the Alpine. Oh, wow. Number 8, the second coming of Jesus. All you Alonso fans will be rejoicing like he'd won the 2005 world title. Fernando Alonso came 8th. Daniel Ricciardo came 9th in the McLaren. And Pierre Gasly came 10th in the AlphaTauri. 11th was Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz, he started off well.
He was up to like 3rd or 4th at one point.
Yeah,
he was battling. He was battling Lando, I think. Because
at the start he was battling Perez. He got past Perez.
Yeah, I remember he was battling Lando because it was like, oh, good, the former McLaren teammates are like properly allowed to race now because they're not teammates.
And then he just went backwards.
He fell off a cliff very badly.
After the safety car, he just went down the pecking order.
Well, was he the first one to stop?
Yeah, because he was on the soft tyres. Most of the other drivers were on the mediums.
Yeah, his tyres were like 40 laps old by the time people got up to him. And
yeah.
what do you do?
And then Antonio Giovinazzi was 12th in the sole Alfa Romeo.
Yes.
Sebastian Vettel came 13th in the Aston Martin, followed closely by his teammate Lance Stroll in 14th. Yuki Tsunoda was 15th. Yuki Tsunoda, he had a bit of a strange day at the office because he nearly got a black flag for exceeding track limits.
Yeah, and
Jeff
was
definitely giving him a hard time.
That was only about 20 or something laps in the race.
Yeah,
like that was early. So he's and it happened in the last race at Imola too. So he's got a thing for not driving on the track very well, apparently, for all his apparent talent.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were heaping praise on him in pre-season. We thought he was amazing.
Yeah, we thought he
everything.
was coming, and we weren't the only ones heaping praise on him. A lot of people in the F1 paddock were pretty excited to see what he could do, but so far not so good.
Yeah.
Not. Has he scored a point yet? I don't think he has.
Yeah, he has.
Did he? Oh, he got ninth.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bahrain or whatever it was. Yeah, right.
But he likes swearing on the radio a lot.
So his English is good enough. So the only English word he knows is swear words. Is that it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
16th place was George Russell in the Williams. 17th was Mick Schumacher in the Haas. 18th was Nicholas Latifi in the Williams. 19th was Mazepin. And the DNF, the sole DNF of the race, was Kimi Räikkönen in the other Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, Kimi Räikkönen's kamikaze attack on his own teammate on lap 1.
That was very unusual. Like, Gio pulled over to the side, his teammate pulled over to the side, and he still managed to plough into him.
Yeah, well, we watched the replay like 2 minutes ago, and yeah, there was room on the outside of the track for him to go past. It's like...
He even turned the car slightly to the right, towards Gio, before he hit him. It's like...
It was an odd one.
Kimi, what were you doing? Were you thinking about ice cream bars or something, mate?
Just thinking about something.
So, lap 1... lap 1, like, Carlos Sainz had a really good start.
Mm-hmm.
And Sergio Perez had a very bad start. Like, I think it might have been because Perez was on the mediums. He just couldn't get the temperature into the tyres. And Carlos Sainz was on the softs, so he could get the temperature in a lot faster, which gave him more grip.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was Mercedes 1-2 through the first corner, so... You know, Verstappen definitely got the better start between the two Red Bulls, and he was soon up with them. But yeah, Perez, he struggles to get the Red Bull fired up for the first few laps, and then he has to do all the work. He has to, gives himself a mountain to climb before the race is even 10 laps old.
Yeah, he's certainly making it more difficult for himself at the start. It's probably not just any fault of his own. Like, it's just, you look at all the drivers that are in new cars this year, like, Perez, Carlos Sainz, Sebastian Vettel, Alonso, Ricciardo.
Yeah.
I'm not going to count the Haas boys in it because
they're new to Formula One, full stop.
But I mean, they're in a Haas.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But all the drivers that have moved to new teams, it seems like, besides Sebastian Vettel, because Vettel is the one who is struggling the most to adjust to a new team.
But it's not like he's being smashed by Stroll either. Like,
no,
the Aston Martin itself is not a great car.
Yeah. And I'm sorry to all you Aston Martin fans out there. It is not the FIA's fault that Aston Martin is a crap box this year. It's Aston Martin's fault.
That's all right. I mean, I'm sure Lawrence Stroll has his billions of Canadian dollars waiting to invest in the 22 car. So.
Yeah, but there's no Canadian F1 race this year.
Oh, I said 22. They'll be back.
Yeah. But it seems like Daniel Ricciardo is having a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, he had a bad qualifying, and props to him. He started 16th, finished 9th.
Yeah.
Which makes you wonder if he'd started 9th, how far up the grid could he have gone? And I think that's what he's most disappointed of. He was pretty gutted yesterday. He pretty much said the same thing. He's like, I left it all to do.
Yeah.
I left it too much to do. But credit to him, he did it. I mean, he passed, 5, 6, 7 cars, yeah.
But it just seems like Carlos Sainz is the one who's adjusted the easiest to the new team that he's in. Like, his results yesterday where he finished 11th, he started, 5th? He finished 11th. It might just be indicative of the Ferrari strategy as well, but he's been putting in solid efforts in a car that, in a straight line, still is not the greatest. Still isn't the greatest thing on the earth.
No.
It's not the greatest thing since sliced bread.
It's better than it was.
Oh, that's very true. And it's an interesting fight between McLaren and Ferrari at the moment, because like McLaren, for years we've sat there and said the McLaren aero package has been great. It's just been let down by the Renault power unit.
Mm-hmm.
Now it has the Mercedes power unit. I kind of think Ferrari have the aerodynamic advantage.
They're very even cars. Like,
In
if
terms
if Mercedes was supposed to, if the Mercedes power unit was supposed to have the edge, you know, in a straight line in sheer grunt, it's not particularly showing it over the Ferrari.
that's my point. Like it's got the more powerful engine, but because aerodynamically it's not as good as the Ferrari, so it's an even fight between an underpowered car with better aero versus a stronger powered car that doesn't quite have as sharp an aero as the Ferrari.
Yeah.
But it means it's going to be a very interesting season. Like even yesterday with Mercedes versus Red Bull, I would have thought that the Honda power unit would be faster than the Mercedes.
It really isn't. It really wasn't yesterday. Or it did not seem like it.
I don't think it's entirely that though. I think that the Mercedes does have the quicker engine on out and out grunt.
Yeah.
But Red Bull has the better aero package.
Oh, this track, Portimao the circuit, I thought that Red Bull was just going to piss this in.
No.
Like, honestly. And then we get to the race and, you know, Verstappen said all weekend he didn't do one lap through practice or qualifying where he felt 100% comfortable.
Yeah.
With the car or the track. I thought this was tailor made for Red Bull domination, and as soon as DRS came into play, they were gone. Hamilton blasted past him, Bottas blasted past him.
But apparently it was a very windy, blowy, choppy day this morning as well. So
yeah, but
that will affect the aero of a lot of cars. I mean, the Williams was all over the shop because of all the, if a slight gust of breeze comes along, that Williams just turns to a pile of dog shit.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just, it was external factors like that hurt the Red Bull.
Maybe I mean, all the cars would have been dealing with the same stuff. It just seemed like the Mercedes was just completely unaffected by it, if that was the case.
And the next race is Spain, which is a very similar track layout.
Very similar track. You could almost mirror image those two circuits.
So it's going to be interesting to see how much the dynamic is different next weekend, if it's going to be the same dynamic again.
It could very well be the same dynamic. I mean, they're very similar tracks. Yeah, well, I made mention of that last night. Even though they had decreased the length of the DRS zone by 120 metres this year, the way the Mercedes went around the Red Bulls.
Yeah.
And then when Max had DRS back against Bottas or Lewis, he wasn't gaining on them as much. So...
Oh, but that's something we forgot as well, was that Max was complaining about third gear had lag.
Yeah, he had synchro issues again.
Yeah, so maybe during the tighter section, he was struggling in there because of third gear being an issue. And that meant that he couldn't gain the advantage where he thought he could aerodynamically in the tight section. So he couldn't get close enough on the straight for DRS to be properly effective.
That's 3 races in a row where Red Bull have had some sort of electrical issue.
Yeah,
we spoke about the reliability in the last episode.
Yeah, they really need to get on top of that quick smart because
Perez had the synchro issue in Imola.
Yeah.
And was it Max's steering wheel died in Bahrain or something, or was it Perez's as well?
It was Perez.
Yeah, so the gremlins are there, and they can't be very happy with that. I mean, they haven't got on top of it, at least in the first 3 races.
Yeah.
And we'll never know how detrimental, being the third gear issue was. But, Hamilton won this race by 30 seconds almost, so...
That was because both Max and Bottas pitted so they could put the soft tyres on.
Oh, that is true, actually, yeah.
So they could go for the bonus point.
Mm.
So then Kimi crashed into Gio.
Yes.
Which brought out the safety car.
Mm.
Now, the safety car came back in on lap 7.
It was a really long safety car.
Yeah. Now, I noticed this when the safety car came in. I thought Bottas was playing it really clever with how he was playing it after the safety car peeled off, but he was like the front of the pack.
Yeah, he was shortening the length of the straight, essentially.
Yeah.
By not gunning it until he got to the control line, yes.
But by doing that, he actually did help Max.
He threw Lewis under the bus because Max, did you see the helicopter shot where Max was pretty much beside him?
Yeah.
He was pretty much beside Lewis, and he knew as soon as they got to the control line, he could overtake him anyway, so he wasn't actually timing Valtteri. He was timing the control line, and he nailed it.
Yeah.
He absolutely nailed it and got back past Lewis, yeah.
Which inevitably led to actually Bottas coming third in the race, because if he hadn't thrown Hamo under the bus, because he did throw Hamo under the bus, and I don't blame Bottas for doing that. I mean, Bottas is fighting for his seat in Mercedes.
Do you think... I don't think he was doing it to throw Lewis under the bus. He was just doing it so Lewis wouldn't have the toe down the straight.
Yeah.
But by doing that, gave Max the perfect opportunity to jump him.
Well, yeah. My way of thinking about it was by pushing Lewis into Max, he's hoping that Max will overtake Lewis, which means then he can skate off into the distance while those two fight.
Yeah.
And he gets a win because he knows that if Lewis is in front of Max,
mm-hmm.
he's going to challenge Bottas for the win.
Yeah. But ultimately what wound up happening was him and Max fighting it out behind Lewis.
Yeah.
While Lewis skated away for the win. So...
Well, on lap 11, Lewis Hamilton repassed Max.
Very easily, might I add.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that Max didn't have DRS. I thought he would have been a lot closer.
Was that the beginning of his gearbox issues? We'll never know.
And then lap 20, Lewis Hamilton passes Bottas to take the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Something about that felt like Bottas had been given team orders to let Hamo past. It just seemed way too easy for Hamo to get past him.
We thought that when Leclerc got back past Sainz as well, but it turns out that was just a legitimate move. And when was it Norris overtook Perez off the track, and then Norris just got back past. Perez got back past Lando like he was standing still, but apparently that actually wasn't Lando giving the place back. That was just
his tyres were gone.
Yeah, sheer speed. So
Perez wasn't happy though, because he apparently said that Lando passed him off the track.
Yeah, and I think he did, but I don't think there was any actual communication from the pit wall to Lando to give him the place back. I think Perez just eventually caught him and got him.
Yeah.
Which probably solved the issue anyway.
So I will come back to that, an issue involving that soon.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I completely forget. Hopefully I don't forget. So then Max, on lap 39, Max passes Valtteri Bottas after Valtteri Bottas pits. And the lap before, Max pitted and they both had the hard tyre on.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, did Mercedes botch Valtteri's pit stop there? Because it went for 3.3 seconds.
It's tough. I mean, you're talking about changing a tire in 3 seconds. Like, to us mere mortals, that's pretty fucking good.
Oh, yeah.
But you're talking like, I mean, but, you know, Formula One, the way it is these days, is won and lost in the pit lane. And I wouldn't call it a botch because I don't think any of Lewis's stops were much faster. 3.3 was the standard, except I think Sergio Perez got like a 1.9 second stop.
Well, that's my thing. Like, you know, Red Bull were doing 1.9, 2.1.
But they've always been fast with pit stops.
Oh,
always.
Yeah.
Always.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, obviously, like, Valtteri had cold tyres too, so that wouldn't have helped.
No, I mean, Max was always going to round him up eventually. I mean, quicker, and he had that big slide coming out of turn 4, and Max was able to position his car down the inside into turn 5 down that little DRS straight and get him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it a botched pit stop. I mean, I don't think Lewis had a significantly faster stop than that. I think it was just Max had done enough in the outlap to, you know, close the gap.
Yeah. And then on the final lap, Valtteri Bottas sets the fastest lap and gets the bonus point. Max did set a faster time, but it was deleted because of track limits. So
Yeah.
Valtteri got the bonus point. But
It looked like that live as well.
yeah.
So it's another point in Mercedes' pocket.
Yeah, which means the gap now between Hamilton and Verstappen. At the start of the race, it was 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
And now it is 8 points.
Mm-hmm.
So it's looking like a tasty little fight at the moment, though. I mean, I know we're 3 races in, but a gap of 8 points, as opposed to previous years where it's been a gap of 15, 20 points.
Yeah.
So
it's closer than it has been. But in saying that, do you feel like the pendulum has swung back towards Mercedes now? I think it has. I think it has.
It has, but it's still too early to call it.
Oh yeah, we're only 3 races into the season, but it we said in Imola it looks like the ball was in Red Bull's court, and today it was taken back out of their court. So I don't know. I'm hoping it's track by track. And apparently Red Bull took updates to Portimao and used them, but the updates haven't quite worked the way they wanted them to.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they'll keep the updates for Barcelona or take them back off.
I think they should take them off. It's probably their best bet.
Considering, as we've said, Catalunya and Portimao are very, very, very similar tracks.
So that's the race highlights.
Or lack thereof.
Yeah. So on my notes here, I took a few notes here. Sainz started off well, but he had a bad day at the office.
If I'm not mistaken, he was the first one to stop, out of everyone.
Yeah, because he had the soft tyres on.
Yeah.
Which, that brings me a very interesting question when it comes to the tyres, because they changed Pirelli changed what compounds they brought this year compared to last year. Because last year they went with the softer compound. I think they went with the 2, 3, and 4.
Mm-hmm.
This year they went the 3, 4, 5.
Mm-hmm.
My question about that is this: why do you need 5 different goddamn compounds? I mean, I can get that you need softer compounds for, say, Singapore and Monaco and Azerbaijan. I get it. But for the rest of the year, just have a softer, medium, and hard, and it be the same compound all year. I just don't get it. I mean, a couple of years ago we had 7 different compounds?
Yeah, we had. Yeah, it was like the hyper soft and the ultra soft.
Yeah,
that was overkill.
The purple, the red, the green, the blue,
yeah.
the yellow, the white, the orange, the bloody turquoise, the
the aqua, all the colours of the rainbow, all of them, every single one. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but if these were the hardest compounds that Pirelli make, there was still a lot of degradation and fall off.
Yeah.
If you'd bought the softer compounds, you would have been doing like 3 or 4 stops.
Yeah.
So I think they take into account, because it's a low grip circuit. It's a low grip circuit with a high wind speed. So the cars are getting pushed around anyway. I think they take into account, variables, and then we'll make the decision on, well, right, your car's going to get pushed sideways by a tailwind. There's not a lot of grip, so your tyres are going to grain, and there's no point giving you a C3 compound that's going to deteriorate in 15 laps, and you're going to have to put 4 sets on.
Yeah.
Because your tyre allocation, you only get, is it 6 sets of tyres? Something like that? Or 8?
You get eight softs. 5 mediums and 3
hards. Yeah. Well, anyway, I mean, it's Pirelli's job to do that research. And, I mean, it's not as confusing as it was 7 years ago, but it's,
And it's funny too, because Mercedes had no brand new softs left for the race.
Exactly. So if the soft was a C1 instead of a C3, imagine it would have been like the ultra soft qualifying tyre from like 2017.
Yeah.
You would have literally got 1.5 laps out of it.
Yeah.
And would have had to have taken that off.
Yeah.
So that probably answers that question, to be honest.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about that.
There you go. That's why I'm here. On the brains of the outfit.
Well, Alonso and Esteban Ocon in the Alpine actually had a fairly solid day.
They did. I was very, very impressed. I don't know what they changed, but, well, maybe they just found a track that the car's actually suited to.
Yeah.
But they both drove very well and were very, very pacey.
And it was just yet another sad day at the office for Sebastian Vettel.
Oh.
He is not happy in that car.
Well, but neither Stroll. Stroll. They're not setting the world on fire by any stretch.
No.
I mean, they've only had, was it 1 points finish this year? Did Stroll get like 9th in Imola or something? Or was it
10th?
Bahrain? Yeah. So, I mean, that is a really disappointing car.
But it's really starting to make Sebastian Vettel look bad. I mean, like, when he got Toro Rosso their first ever win.
Mm-hmm.
Then he went to Red Bull, and it was probably 1 year at Red Bull, and then
4 straight championships.
Yep. Then he goes to Ferrari, and as soon as he gets in the Ferrari, he's got a race win.
Yep. And he's leading championships and stuff.
And then last year, he's in that crap box Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
And gets dumped by the team, goes to Aston Martin. Now he's in a car where they must have promised him the world. Like, he must have sat there and went, oh, it's going to be a modified 2019 Mercedes with a Mercedes donkey in the back. I'm going to be just as good as Lewis Hamilton. And no, it isn't.
None of that has come to fruition. I mean, it is a modified... It's certainly modified in the wrong direction.
You know what? This year's Aston Martin, the best equivalent I can come up with for it is that car is the equivalent of cheating off your mate during an exam, but he's written down all the wrong answers. So just copying his answers.
I don't know what their build philosophy was for this car, but it's not.
It was whatever Mercedes were building back in 2019.
This is not that car. This is not that. There is not one single carryover from Racing Point that is in that Aston Martin, and it shows.
Yeah.
And it absolutely shows.
Well, they keep saying it's the floor because the regulation changes on the not the floor, but the bottom of the car down the tail.
Yeah, they've narrowed it in by 10 mil, yeah.
Yeah, they're saying that that's effectively crippled the car. And that's why they're challenging the FIA by saying, oh, did the FIA come up with this rule, or did Liberty Media come up with it? Shouldn't matter who came up with it. You
Everyone's in the
knew
same
what the
boat.
rules were.
Everyone's in the same boat, mate. They're not going out there. There's not like teams out there still running full floors and stuff. Like, you just haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
That's your job.
You didn't see Ferrari bitching and moaning and bitching and bitching and bitching and bitching in 2005 when you were only allowed one set of tyres for a race.
Yeah.
You know?
Rules change.
Rules change.
It's your job that you get paid millions of dollars a year for to come up with solutions to that rule and to make your car competitive. And if you can't figure that out in 20 races, then that's on you, man.
And unofficially, Toto Wolff is supporting Aston Martin in their plight about these rule changes. But Toto Wolff won't come out and say that he's supporting them. He's letting Aston Martin do all the fighting for him.
So he doesn't look like the dickhead.
Yeah.
So he's going to make Lawrence Stroll look bad and
Yeah.
Mao Zaf now look bad.
Yeah.
Instead of him. Smart man, Toto.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a bit of a worm
was
maneuver, but...
Was it the floor they're protesting or the rake?
Gosh,
or both.
I think it's both.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, it's not affecting Mercedes, is it?
No. It's not affecting anyone else.
But Aston.
Oh, and Haas, but Haas just didn't spend any development on their car, so it's just still last year's car.
Haas is like an Aldi car anyway. It's like a kit car you build with other parts.
Then there's a little bit of a rumour, a little bit of a Formula One rumour. So the guy who's just been hired by Red Bull to head up Red Bull power units,
the guy from Mercedes?
The guy from Mercedes. So he's gone over there, but I think he's got to take a little bit of gardening leave before he can hook up and start doing any major damage.
Mm.
But there's a rumor going around that initially it's going to be called Red Bull power units or powertrains or whatever it's called. But the rumor is that it's actually going to be rebranded something else.
Mm.
And have some technical expertise from another manufacturer.
Was this the same mob that bought the intellectual property from Honda?
No, Red Bull bought the intellectual property from Honda.
So
that's why Yuki Tsunoda's in the car.
Okay.
But the rumor is that it's going to start off being called Red Bull powertrains or power units, but it's going to be bought by VW.
Really?
Yeah. And people have questioned Christian Horner over the weekend about it, and he's like, well, someone in the future might buy it.
Someone in the future might buy Red Bull.
Red Bull powertrains.
Mm.
Yeah, and everyone's like, oh, it sounds like it's going to be VW.
That'd be alright.
Well, I mean, VW is the parent company of Porsche. Remember, a few years ago, Porsche had a V6 power unit.
Yeah, they made their own V6 power unit.
Yeah, that apparently was an absolute monster on the dyno.
Mm-hmm. Would be. They've had 20 million... their entire careers have been... That entire company's based off V6 turbo engines.
And in 2025, the power unit rules are revised.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like one of the MGUs is going to get ditched to make it cheaper and more efficient, which is exactly what Porsche wanted to join F1 as an engine supplier.
Yeah, they wanted to get rid of the kinetic energy unit, or the heat energy unit, whatever it is. Whichever one.
Oh, the one from the air from the turbo that powers up heats up the
That's the heat unit.
Yeah.
Because kinetics from the brakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Why not? If that's going to open the market for
Yeah.
Porsche and Audi and whoever the hell wants to make Nissan, Toyota, BMW, start making V6 power units and get in there.
Yeah, get in there.
Let's get a 30-car grid going again.
Well, I mean, they only want to make the power units. They don't want to be a factory team. They don't want to be a team. They just want to make the power units.
Yeah.
But also heard pre-season an interview with one of the guys who's that David, whatever his name is, the guy who's in charge of Alpine.
Mm-hmm.
They asked him, like, are you disappointed that this year it's just you guys running Renault engines? And he said no, because we financially cannot justify supplying other teams.
I guess they're essentially saving money. They only have to run 2 engines a race instead of like 6.
While I understand that, I thought the aim of being in F1 is to be competitive and to, I don't know, win championships. Call me old-fashioned.
Mm.
And I always thought the best way to get technical info for your power units so you can improve them is by having more teams that have them, so you get more data about how to improve the engines and how they're operating and that type of thing. So being proud that you've only got 2 engines in your car that, let's be honest, is not doing that great.
Yeah, they did all right today. But we'll see if it's a flash in the
They
pan.
did all right today, but I mean, in the fight between McLaren and Ferrari and Alpine and Aston Martin.
Oh yeah, they're down.
Yeah. And it's a big gap between Ferrari and Alpine.
Mm. Oh yeah, they're not the Renault of last year. That's for sure.
No. But I just thought they would want to have more teams having their engines.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it saves you money. You get less feedback about them, but it's what they want.
Yeah.
It's clearly what they want. Yeah, I mean, it worked all right today. Their car worked all right today, but they've fallen off the cliff between this year and last year, that's for sure.
Yeah. So then, I said earlier there was something I wanted to discuss, and we discussed this the last episode about track limits. Now, Yuki Tsunoda copped a bit of a talking to. Apparently, so did Mazepin and Schumacher and Latifi. And like Perez was complaining about Norris's pass on him, saying he was off the track and all that. I kind of think that the race officials need to have another person officiating.
Just a dedicated dude looking at all the track limits.
Or maybe like another 2 people or 3 people, so that it's a 5-person thing that monitors all the damn corners. So they're not just sitting there going, well, you can go wide on this corner because we're not monitoring that one during qualifying.
Mm.
But don't go wide on this one or else your time will be deleted. Shouldn't all the corners be monitored? Shouldn't it be fair all across the track?
Yeah, it should be.
I mean, look at Bahrain, where for 30 laps, Lewis Hamilton just kept driving off the side of the track.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, he's not gaining an advantage.
But he was.
He was, because he was in the lead of the race.
Yeah.
And then Max overtakes him there, and they're like, oh, you got to hand the spot back.
Yeah. There was an overtake.
But if you can't sit there and say to me, he shouldn't be allowed to overtake out there, yet the other guy is just happily driving out there, making his own version of the track. You've got the track. It should be where it is. Max
said after the race at the podium when, I don't know who was interviewing, was it Coulthard? Might have been Coulthard. Oh, your fastest lap got deleted. And he's like, oh, I didn't think they were monitoring turn 14. It's like, no, they were monitoring turn 14 all weekend. They said it in the driver's briefing, but obviously you weren't listening.
Well,
yeah, he said it. It's like, they said it in the driver's, Brundle said it after. It's like, it was written in the rules, and it was said in the driver's briefing like 3 times. But like, we're monitoring turn 14 all weekend. Don't go out there. And he went out there.
But that brings me to my point, which is, why are they not monitoring all the damn corners? Why is it it's only specific corners and then all the other corners? Oh,
because
it's
the corners you monitor would be where you would get an advantage, like fast sweepers and, like there's corners on that track that there's only one line through there.
Yeah.
Like, but then you go through like a fast sweeper, and if you cut it, you'll gain half a tenth, or if you go slightly wider through the double apex, you'll gain half a tenth. Like there is a science to it.
Yeah, but I just think it should be a blanket thing. Like every corner is monitored.
Well, that's why we have street tracks, mate.
That's why we have Jeff in the game.
That's why we have street tracks where the track limit is a barrier.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
That's it. But, a lot of these tracks we're going to, Imola was like it. Portimao, I guess besides Turn 14, a lot of it was edged by gravel anyway. So, we're going to Spain. It's all got gravel on the outside, so a lot of the track limit is going to be dictated by grass anyway.
Well, I mean, the only corners in Spain that really need to be monitored for track limits are... God, I've got to do the mathematics here. The chicane, turn 6 and 7.
Yeah, and
then the outside
the
of turn 8, which goes into the smaller DRS section.
The outside of there we watched. But too far outside of there is a gravel trap anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
You're not going to have this problem too much in Barcelona either.
But, well, my question is, do you think they need more officials to be monitoring more corners? Because clearly Michael Massey can't handle it by himself if he's just picking out one or two corners and going, we're monitoring these ones.
They need to come up with a way to, they need to black and white what the track limits are and where they are. I said it in our Bahrain show. MotoGP's got green curb and a red curb. And if your tyres are on the red curb, you're outside track limits. And that's what they watch. Supercars have sensors.
Yeah.
They had the sensors at Clipsal in that chicane. If your sensor went over that sensor, it means your car was too far across the track and that you're outside limits. You can have bollards, or you can have sausage curbs, or
a wall.
Or a wall, big tyre wall. But, I mean, the way that track is shaped at Portimao, I mean, there's not much you can do. I mean, you're not going to drag a tyre wall 30 metres infield to, put it along turn 14 because all there is out there is, a sand trap and then another wall.
Yeah.
You're not going to bring a tyre barrier all the way in just to say, oh, you can't go out there.
Yeah.
I think they did a good enough job.
Because
there are a few lap times deleted.
Yeah.
And you go back and watch Max's last lap, and it's obvious.
Yeah.
It's obvious. I saw it as soon as he went around.
Yeah.
And he was out there, and I'm like, that lap's not going to count.
Yeah.
And sure enough.
And then as soon as Martin mentioned it,
yeah,
I was just like, yeah, he's done.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Yep.
But
I think they need to. I think they're doing a good enough job.
Okay, well, my next question is, if you were going to add another 3, because they've already got 2 race officials, so you've got Michael Massey and he's got a little offsider dude.
Mm.
If you're going to add another 3 officials, who would you pick?
As officials?
Yes.
Well, actually overseeing everything?
Like, having 3 people that answer to Michael Massey.
Well, you need former racers.
Yeah.
You'd need a Nico Rosberg or a Jensen Button or maybe even an Alain Prost. You know? Yeah. That'd be my 3. There you go. Done.
Yeah.
Ex-racers who know what a racing incident looks like, who knows the race driver's mentality, who can argue both sides. It's like, hey, I think that was a bit wrong, but I also know why you did it.
Well, my 3 will slightly surprise you a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, if he retires at the end of the year, my number 1 would be Kimi Räikkönen.
Yeah.
Because he'd be pretty laid back and be like, well, I get why. It wouldn't be so black and white. Like, he'd understand the grey area.
Mm.
For the corners that they are specifically monitoring, like that turn 14, I'd get Jacques Villeneuve. Because that man gives zero fucks. He'll just sit there and say, no, you went too far.
Yeah.
I don't care. You went too far.
Yeah, but...
Do you accept me as your champ?
Do you accept me as your champ? But it'd have to be an ex-race driver. I mean, it'd have to be someone that can see both sides of the coin.
And
does Mika Hakkinen work for FIA?
No, he's McLaren's ambassador.
Mika Hakkinen may be good.
And not Damon Hill, Jenson Button is Williams' ambassador.
Because I see Mika around a lot, and he's wearing, like, polo shirts, and I'm like, he'd be a good race director.
Well, I think the third good one would be Ralph Schumacher.
Is he still around?
Yeah, he's Mick Schumacher's manager.
Oh, good.
And he's also David Schumacher's manager because he's David Schumacher's father.
There you go. What's David doing?
I think he's in GP3.
Nice.
So in a couple of years, we might actually see Mick versus David.
Ralph versus Michael 2.0.
Yeah.
Hopefully in good cars, not Haas's.
Yeah, hopefully Williams will be back up the front.
Mm.
We put David in a Williams and Mick in a Ferrari.
Well, Mick in a Ferrari is going to happen.
Yeah.
I think that's set in stone.
Yeah.
Like, your future is laid out before you even get there.
Yeah.
You just...
But I mean, he does have the talent to back it up. He's just in a crap box Haas. But he is
can we give them applause too? Both of them this week didn't fucking crash.
Yeah, but it wasn't from a lack of trying from Mazepin.
Oh no, Mazepin gave it a shot, but he didn't crash. Good on him.
No, well, yeah.
Congratulations, boys! You made it through a race without spinning.
There you go. So that's everything about the race. However, there was Friday and Saturday were anniversaries of sort.
Mm-hmm.
So Friday was the 27th anniversary of the passing of Roland Ratzenberger.
Yes.
And then, which meant the Saturday was the 27th anniversary of the death of the man, the myth, the legend, Ayrton Senna.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta admit, one thing I really would have liked it is if they'd swapped this race with Imola and had Imola on this weekend. It would have been like a really nice little... Like, they could have done like a really nice tribute thing.
Yes.
I mean, some people will probably sit there and go, that's very distasteful.
It's a little more, but I mean, I feel like they had the opportunity to, but decided not to for that reason.
Yeah.
Just, it gets talked about enough just going there.
Yeah.
Like, we spoke about it.
Last episode,
yeah. And we've had nothing to do with that or Roland then.
Yeah.
But, you talk about it enough just going to Imola because that's the place where it happened.
Yeah.
So to put it on the same weekend as the anniversaries and just have it more in the foreground and take away, you don't want to take the shine off what was a fucking awesome race.
Yeah, that's right.
We spoke about the awesome race and then we talked about Ayrton anyway.
Yeah.
And to have it on the same weekend, it just, you take the shine off it a little bit, to be honest. So
yeah,
I'm not too fazed by it. But we spoke about the evolution of safety in the last one.
Yeah.
Because of those two. Or because of Ayrton, probably especially. Weird question, morbid question. Do you think if Roland Ratzenberger was the only one that died that weekend, would they have pushed too hard with safety then? Because remember, Rubens Barrichello almost died on the Friday in practice.
I think they would have improved safety, but they wouldn't have improved it as much.
As quickly, yeah. I think Ayrton would have been one of the leads on that. Because remember when Roland died and Ayrton was talking to Sid Watkins the night before the race, and he's like, Sid Watkins turned to him, he's like, what are you doing here? You want to go fishing? And Ayrton's like, I'm here because I'm a race driver. And he's like, oh, yeah, I guess so. It's like, I don't really want to race today, but I have to. It's my job. It's like, I'd rather go fishing. I'd rather go fishing with you. But, yeah. Yeah. Anniversaries happen, mate.
The one thing I will say, if there's one shining light about Ayrton Senna's death, is that he had that massive rivalry with Prost. And then that day they actually buried the hatchet. If that besides the safety stuff that we see on track nowadays, if just thinking that those two buried the hatchet that day, that's a pretty big moment for me.
The fact that they went from hating each other's guts for like 3 years to Alain Prost being one of the pallbearers at Ayrton's funeral, actually carrying his casket out. At
his family's request.
Yeah.
And at the president of Brazil's request as well.
Yep.
That's on track. They hated each other, and then once that was over with, they were very much hunting louder.
Well, Ayrton always said, he said it to Alain's face. Alain Prost went over to his house and stayed with him, and Ayrton didn't say a word to him all day. He said hello and then went goodbye. And then when Alain retired and Ayrton was speaking to him again, he was like, hey, remember when I went to your house and you didn't say anything to me? He's like, yep. He's like, why'd you do that? He's like, because if I started becoming friends with you, I wouldn't see you as a rival anymore.
Yeah.
And it was like, I had to see you as a rival because you were the only one that could get the best out of me. And when he retired and Ayrton went to Williams, or he had that 1 year at McLaren where Williams smashed him or whatever, Ayrton was actually begging Alain Prost to come back. He's like, I need you back because I don't see anyone else as a threat the way I saw you as a threat. But you know what? They went from that level of rival to the level of friend, and then ultimately, they parted at his funeral, and it just goes to show the level of sportsmanship and what the sport does and what it brings. You can be fiercest rivals, but as soon as the helmet comes off, you can still be mates.
Well, this just brings up a question I just thought of just then. Do you think that is what is lacking in Formula One nowadays? That sort of intense rivalry.
Yes, and I think that is desperately what they're trying to get out of Lewis and Max. But I genuinely do not think even slightly that Max and Lewis hate each other. They don't. There's no actual hatred there. Like, there is zero hatred there.
You know what two drivers I think actually do have a hatred for each other? Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. I think they actually do dislike each other. And once you get that Ferrari up to where it needs to be, you're going to get a rivalry.
The only problem is Hamilton and Verstappen is going to be for the championship, and that's all anyone's going to want to see. And they're going to try and fabricate that there's a proper rivalry there, like an animosity, but there isn't.
But I mean, Max has got that old school driver mentality.
Oh yeah.
Where, he doesn't care what other people think. He's like, I'm driving the car, and that's that. Mm-hmm. He very much drives like Ayrton Senna.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
And he's got that. I don't know how to word this. So I'm just going to go with the fastest point to get there. He does drive like he's got Ayrton Senna's chip on his shoulder. Like, Ayrton Senna did have a bit of a I don't know, an arrogant streak where he thought he was better than everyone else on the grid.
Well,
and
he was, for the most part.
Except for Prost. But except for Prost. But
there's nothing around here to throw at you. That's all right. Continue.
But Prost had 4 championships. Anyway.
That's true. I'm not arguing. Anyway,
But
no.
Verstappen's got that same mentality of, I know I'm the best.
Mm-hmm.
I need the equipment to match up to my ability.
He's got it now.
And now he's got to convert it into runs on the board.
Yeah, but to answer your question, is there that level of intense rivalry in Formula One? No, there's not. Not without it being fabricated. They're going to try and fabricate this Hamilton-Verstappen rivalry bigger than it actually is.
And Hamilton makes it easy for people to fabricate it because...
People don't like him. People outside of the UK, hey, newsflash, don't like Lewis Hamilton.
Because he comes across as fake.
And arrogant. And
you know,
what's he trying to do?
Every time he wins a race, it's, I'd like to thank the boys back at the factory and these amazing fans, while we're all booing the shit out of him because we're all sick and tired of him.
Well, he's trying to be this vegan Black Lives Matter. He's leading this whole separate life. Like, he acts like a rock star and gets paid like a rock star, but...
To me, he seems like the motorsport equivalent of Kanye West.
No, he's not that controversial. He's polarizing, okay? He wins a lot. He wins a lot, and he's trying to, push his personal life, all his beliefs and all his, onto... He's trying to use himself as as a broadcast for the things he stands up.
He's trying to be a political do-gooder.
We're just trying to... we're coming here to watch a Formula One race. We're not coming here to watch a Black Lives Matter protest, or we don't care about your
clothing line
organically
or your music.
Your organically made fucking clothing line. We don't give a shit.
I couldn't give a shit about Roscoe, to be honest.
Oh, you leave Roscoe out of this.
It's not Kiki.
You leave Roscoe out of this. No, dude, he's allowed to have a life out. He's allowed to have a life outside of Formula One.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah.
But we don't want to see that on race day.
No.
I feel like he brings a lot of it with him. And Max doesn't. Max is here to fucking race.
Yeah.
Max doesn't give a shit. I mean, he probably has opinions on the racism movement and whatever. And,
But he just shuts up and does it because he's paid
But
to.
he's here to fucking race. He's not here to start a protest march. He's not here to fucking be anything other than himself. And sometimes Lewis does that and whatever. And we can hate him because we're sick of seeing his face. And we are.
Yeah.
But... credit to Lewis, he got there because he's the best at the moment.
Yeah. And again, that brings forward the comparison between Max Verstappen and Ayrton Senna. Ayrton Senna didn't care about the political, like all this bullcrap about Black Lives Matter or whatever. He was a passionate man about racing. He was passionate about his country.
Yeah.
And he turned up on the day and drove his ass off. Good, bad, or indifferent. Whether he crashed into Prost or Prost crashed into him or whatever, he knew he was being paid not to sit there and sell Black Lives Matter or his clothing line or whatever. He was there to get points, win championships, and win Constructors' Point Championships for McLaren or for whatever team he was driving for.
Yeah, and that's what Max does.
Okay. So, yeah...
I know. I mean, he's the only guy who rides a scooter down pit lane.
Yeah.
He's got his little fold-up scooter and he scoots down there and the Sky cameras have to follow him. It's like, oh, he's on his scooter, let's broadcast it because... And I think our problem is because we're watching it on Sky and Sky's a UK broadcaster and Lewis is a UK driver.
Now, Martin keeps it very, very even. Like, he doesn't...
I think they tend to forget that they're broadcasting to the world, not just England.
Croft remembers, because sometimes he'll say something about Daniel Ricciardo and he'll say hello to our Australian viewers.
Yeah.
Okay. Croft knows. Croft is the one who sits there and plays on the I'm British and go the British driver angle.
Whereas fair enough. Though.
Martin is the pro. Like, he's worked with Murray Walker and all that, but he's the ex-driver who knows I'm there to talk about the technical stuff, not sit there and blow smoke up Lewis or Lando Norris or anyone else from Britain's backside.
Yeah, but then again, you get it though.
The flip
it's a UK broadcast. I mean, but they got to know who they're broadcasting to.
The flip side of the coin is you get commentary like IndyCar's commentary.
Yeah.
Where it's very flat and there feels like there's very little passion behind what the commentators are saying. Despite the fact they've got, what's his name, Matthew White? The old Australian supercars commentator?
Yeah, is it Matty White? No.
Yeah, I think it's Matty White.
No, it's the fucking blonde-haired guy. Don't remember. No, maybe it is. I don't know. No, I think it is Matty White. Maybe it is.
Yeah, it is Matty White.
Yeah, right. Scott McLaughlin P2 yesterday. On an oval. And then McLaren won this morning. I told you I was going to watch more IndyCar. and we got reasons to watch IndyCar. McLaren's winning and Scott McLaughlin's on podiums. Woo!
No, I didn't watch it.
No, but anyway, it's a UK broadcaster. Just blowing smoke up a UK driver, 7-time champion's ass. You got to expect it.
Look, okay. I'm not whinging about Sky Sports commentary because apparently the BBC commentary is a lot more pro Hamilton, pro British drivers.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm going to say is this: I would rather listen to David Croft and Martin Brundle over listening. God, I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud. Over listening to Neil Goddamn Crompton.
Oh, no. I mean, they do their jobs well.
I really want to do a Petter's suspension test on his fucking head. Because he is just a soul-crushing, soul-destroying commentator.
Oh, he's he has the personality of a Petter's suspension rod. He
is as boring as watching someone else watching paint dry.
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe that goes to show that this Sky broadcast ain't all that bad.
Yeah, that's right.
Because the Australian Supercars broadcast team sucks, and I'll say that out loud.
We should do it.
We are not starting a Supercars podcast, mate.
No. We'll put this out to our viewers, okay?
No.
For Bathurst.
No.
For Bathurst. Right, hear me out. Say in the comments whether you like or dislike. We watch Bathurst and we do our own commentary over the top.
I am not commentating for 6 hours on Bathurst.
Well, no. We'll get a couple other people to join in with us. It'll be like the cricket, where we swap commentators. It could be
commentators
fun.
Every 20 laps. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we can't be any worse than Neil Crompton.
We'll just
Can we?
We'll just mute the TV and just watch it on mute.
Because you can't just mute the commentators then.
Yeah, exactly.
But then you don't hear the engine sound.
Yeah, it's true.
All right, well, on that happy note, and please write a comment in the comments section below if you want us to do our own commentary for Bathurst this year. Unless the Japanese F1 is on that day, then you can forget it. It's not happening. But please leave a comment if you feel that way. Thank you for tuning in again this week, and we will have another episode next week because this weekend is the Spanish Formula One race.
Yeah, back to back.
Let's see if Red Bull and Max Verstappen can bounce back and take the win and swing the pendulum back their way.
Yeah, let's see if they take those upgrades off. Or if they leave them on and figure out how they work.
Yeah.
Or see if Mercedes keep the momentum.
Yeah.
Or if someone else wants to get up there and do it, like McLaren or Ferrari.
Well, I mean, remember Spain in 2016?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have I don't think Bottas has the balls to drive into Hamilton the way Rosberg did, though. He's a whipping boy.
Well, it was Hamilton that drove into Rosberg, wasn't it?
Same thing.
Yeah.
We'll find out. Time will tell. Hey, don't forget, I mean, Verstappen was fast enough to put this thing on pole this time around, and his lap got deleted in qualifying.
True.
So if Verstappen puts it on pole in Barcelona, which he very well might be able to do,
yeah,
we shall see.
Anyway, thank you for tuning in this week,
Mm.
and we will catch you all next week. Be sure to leave a comment about our idea.
Incoherent rambling as well.
Yes. And, you can do all the Watch Mojo crap if you want. We don't really care. As long as you tune in.
We appreciate it, Dave.
Yeah,
we like seeing the numbers. Like, we like seeing those numbers getting bigger.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if we haven't scared you off by this point, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, see you in 7, 8 days.
7.
Yeah. See you in a week.
Right.
Enjoy.
See you guys.